everyone, and welcome back to the Black Lawyers Podcast. Today, we have the pleasure of interviewing the Dr. Heavenly Kimes. How are you?
Thank you for having me, Jay Carter. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining us. Now, we know that you are Dr. Heavenly. We know you are a reality TV star from Bravo, and now you are running for a congressional seat, Georgia Congress race. So we are excited to hear that you are adding this hat or adding this role to your many list of things that you're already doing. I think it's exciting when people that are not necessarily in politics decide to step up and take on that role. And so before we get started about your campaign and a little bit more about you for folks that don't know you very well, we make all of our guests play a round of hot topics. So we're going to first start off with the Martin Luther King estate. They had an issue with the burial site in Georgia being vandalized, and then there's a platform called OpenAI with artificial intelligence using his images for videos. You are a public figure. You're already famous, so I'm sure there's some images of you, right, floating around that maybe you didn't create, but they're creating videos. And so what are your thoughts on that? With you being a public figure, I mean, obviously Martin Luther King was a civil rights leader. He'll always be the face just globally, but obviously out of Georgia, and how people are using those images, and how now, you know, you're obviously already famous, but you're also stepping in the spotlight. What are your thoughts on AI, even just the site being vandalized, those two issues that the state are having?
I think that AI is very unfortunate that people are using it in the ways that it was not intended. I think we're living in a time where they're lashing out. I don't think that people are happy with some of the things and the way things are going right now, and they're lashing out. But sometimes they're lashing out at the wrong people. Of course, Martin Luther King is a legend. He is a legend in his own right. And he's done a lot for this country, but he has a lot of history right here in Atlanta. Ebenezer Church, everything is right here. His old home is here. And it's unfortunate. But the thing with AI, it probably needs a little bit more oversight because, yes, they've done AI with me. They've done AI with my husband as well. So I think it would give people just the need to look at things once, twice, three times before they make judgment or before they pass it along. AI is something that's new, it's not going anywhere, and it can be used in a lot of great ways. But of course, there are always people that find a negative way to use it. So yeah, there has to be more of an oversight.
Oversight. And what are your thoughts on the burial site recently being vandalized?
I mean, like I said, it's unfortunate. I don't know why somebody would do something like that. I think people are lashing out. I think it's a lot of injustices going on in the world. I think that people are being divided and they're being distracted by a lot of things rather than the things that really matter. And they're lashing out because of them.
Absolutely. Well, we know that Bernice King, who she is actually a lawyer herself, she went to law school and she's very much involved in her father's estate. That Dr. Bernice King will continue to fight for the protection of her father's legacy, whether it be the burial site or his images being used in AI.
Absolutely, as she should, as she should, yeah.
As she should, absolutely. Something else affecting Georgians, but also affecting persons probably nationwide. As you know, I'm recording today out of Washington, D.C. So you know that the shutdown has been happening. I think we're going on now about 3 weeks. So they have already predicted
21 days.
They have already predicted that if they can't figure out how to end the shutdown, that going into November, benefits like SNAP, EBT benefits affecting people's food will be affected moving forward going into November, that they probably will not have enough money to pay out all benefits moving forward. What are your thoughts about that? And is your campaign doing anything local for people that are affected by the shutdown and just moving forward as benefits may continue to be impacted? Are you tied into any local groups like food drives and things like that that could potentially help persons?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, again, it's unfortunate. The government shutdown shouldn't have happened. I think that there are things they could have done to prevent them. I think that, again, the Republicans have control of the House, the Senate, the White House, and the judges, and they have all the cards. And I think that the only thing the Democrats have left is to fight for healthcare. You know, one of my main platforms is healthcare. People are going to die without those healthcare benefits, the ACA and all of such. So I think the Democrats are doing the right thing. They got to hold out. This is all they can do. And I know they're losing millions and millions of dollars every day, but I still say Democrats hold steady, hold steady. Yes.
Hold steady.
But yes, we
Amazing.
are doing things in our campaign. We are doing things in our campaign. We just were partnered with Martyr and Gooder AR, Gooder, a company that actually gives free food to the people in the community. I was down there with the commissioner of Clayton County, and they were giving out food with the police officers. The sheriff was there, and there are places to go to get food, but it's unfortunate. Like, to me, you know, the billionaires have all the cards, and they are preventing people. They're cutting trillions of dollars in benefits, Medicaid, Medicare, which is my platform, and food, SNAP benefits. I'm a girl that grew up on free lunch. I'm a girl that needed WIC when I first had my children. It's very unfortunate, you know, because people depend on that WIC. I mean, and for the sustenance of our children. And it's unfortunate. I feel like if we're in a government shutdown, if it had to happen, I don't think anybody should get paid. I think the Congress people should not get paid. I think whoever is supposed, I think that they need to feel the brunt of what's going on as well. A lot of federal workers and people are getting out of their jobs. It's just not fair. It's just not fair. And it's not constitutional. I think that when they do government shutdowns, they cannot care about the people. And again, I will say the House, the Senate, the White House is in the hands of the Republicans. They hold all the cards, and you have to get back to the table and negotiate these things. There are certain things we have to stand up on. We have to stand up on the healthcare, because I know firsthand from seeing patients that they're struggling right now to afford their drugs. They're struggling right now to pay their rent. And so when you cut off these things, you hurt people. And now it's November, right in time for Thanksgiving. People are not going to get their benefits. I think it's just disheartening, and I think it's no empathy for the people, and it's horrible.
It's unfortunate that we're literally getting ready, like you said, to go into the holidays,
Yeah.
which is like the worst possible time to not have your benefits.
And, you know, I've seen on social media that people may loot. They may go get the food anyway. I mean, and to me, it's designed to cause chaos. It got to be. There's no other reason for this. I mean, if you're going to have a government shutdown and you know it lasted this long, there should be a system in place that people still get their benefits. If Congress can still get paid, there's a way for everybody to get paid.
That's a good point. Someone said if you cut their paychecks during this time, they probably will hurry up and figure out a way to figure it out. Yeah, that's what someone said. They said they're still getting paid. That's why, you know, they're not in any. Well, some are obviously in a rush because they care, but for those that don't care as much, they're not in a rush because they're still getting paid. Speaking of congressmen that, you know, or leaders that speak out, just wanted to last hot topic. Our sister, Representative Jasmine Crockett of Texas, she was recently criticized by Stephen A. Smith, who is a sports commentator. I don't know why he's criticizing her in the first place. You know, sometimes I always tell people, stay in your lane. Not that you can't have an opinion, but stay in your lane. And he heavily criticized Representative Jasmine Crockett in her approach with Trump. I'm sure you're aware that Trump, Jasmine Crockett go back and forth on Twitter all the time with their statements about what's going on. And he heavily criticized her. Didn't criticize Trump, who is the actual leader, president, but criticized her. So I just wanted to know, because again, you are already a leader in your community, being a part of the medical profession.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah. That's awful.
Leader. So let me ask you this. What are your thoughts on Black women in leadership, whatever role, but in particular, once they obviously step in the limelight in terms of politics, I feel like they're more criticized than their counterparts from other races?
Of course. I'm a Black woman running for Congress that has done reality TV. Our president is a reality TV star that has been the president but has not been criticized for it. As a Black woman, we almost come to expect it. It's not fair. It's not fair at all, but we don't expect it from our Black men. Our Black men should be holding us up and holding us down. So what Stephen A. Smith did was it was unforgivable, really. I mean, you never talk down a Black woman, even if you felt like she was doing something wrong, pull it to the side. I think that Black women are the most unprotected. I think that they are the most criticized, and actually we are the most educated. We are the most leading in entrepreneurship. We're the ones that come up and come out boldly and fix solutions. I was on a call with Stacey Abrams and the rest, and they have a plan for this. This isn't the first time that something like this has happened with the government, and we have to take care of ourselves and we have to become an ecosystem. But it's the Black women that stand up and stand out. And we're being shut down on health care. You know, we don't have child care. There are so many issues that Black women deal with. I don't know if you know, in a small business, we get a very small percentage of all small business loans. HBCUs are trying to cut back on funding for people, and I'm a double HBCU grad. It's unfortunate that Black women have to stand up and stand out, and still we rise. My thing is, we're still leading in entrepreneurship, we're still leading in education, and we will still continue to speak up and speak out, just like Jasmine Crockett did. Now, since then, he has apologized. And I'm glad he learned his ways. I think he took enough hits for saying the things he said. But as a Black man, we have to protect our Black women. I mean, we're the most unprotected person in this, and we're the ones that's working the hardest. So my whole thing is, before you judge a Black woman, well, she's trying to help the whole system. She's speaking up, she's speaking out, she's being bold, she's being unafraid, doing things that nobody else can do or will do. There are 435 members of the U.S. House of Representatives in Congress, and I don't hear many of them speaking up and speaking out and speaking truth to the distractions that go on about the tariffs, about the job losses, and things that the way that Jasmine Crockett does. So let's hold up our Black females that are working hard and making things happen when you're not.
I love what you said, that even when they say, even when you're married, I'm not married, but they said when you're married, even when your partner is wrong, you don't say it in front of the group,
No.
right? The public, you do it privately. And I feel like I like what you said. Like, even if you feel like you have a criticism of someone, you can do it privately. You don't have to do it publicly. So I think hopefully he and whoever else who has a mic, I feel like all these men have mics now. All they want to do is talk. I feel like they talk more than women. So hopefully they know moving forward
Do
there that
things
there's
for
a
clickbait, for
yeah.
for attention. You know what I'm saying? And this, even though I'm a reality TV star, you have to separate the two. And I hope people can realize and separate the two. That's entertainment. This is not. This is very serious, and
Right.
it's affecting people's lives. And they have to realize that they got to support our Black women, especially the
Yeah.
ones that are stepping up and stepping out, because they're putting their lives at risk, literally. So let's be behind our Black women and not
Yes,
criticize them.
absolutely. And like you said, if you do it privately, I like that note. And I'll end our hot topic segment by saying you said something very important, and it's something that echoed Michael Max, who said that the Black woman is the most unprotected in America. That is the most unprotected person in America. It's the Black woman. That is something that he said. And so you echoed that sentiment, that he that's one of his most famous sayings. And so I think that's very true. And I think that is why, unfortunately, Black women kind of come to expect that they'll be criticized more. But we hope moving forward, our counterparts will continue to support
And
us
we're the
in a
most
better way.
qualified ever. The most qualified. They go down the line, do the things the right way. I'd like to say Dr. Heavenly is uniquely qualified. Jasmine Crockett is an attorney. She went down the road. My whole thing is Kamala Harris, most qualified, but still the most criticized. When y'all got somebody in office, many people in office that are not qualified to do the job that they're doing. No way.
No, no. Yes, yes. We've had Representative Jasmine Crockett on the podcast twice. And so, yes, one thing about her, you're going to know that, yes, she's in politics, but she was a lawyer first.
Do you
And
think
she's going to
people are
remind you of that.
afraid of educated Black women, powerful, educated Black
Yes.
women that are not
I think
afraid to
it's,
speak
I
up and
think,
speak out?
yeah, I think it's a fear because if you even look at in civil rights, right? Martin Luther King knew he was going to die. He knew he was going to die. Even Malcolm at some point knew he was going to die. But Martin knew. He knew for a fact. I mean, he was getting calls and that. And people say, well, why is somebody worried about a preacher? You know, like a preacher from Georgia. Because anytime you speak out and you have any sort of influence, they don't want you to be able to influence anyone. They want everybody to fall in line like ducks in a row with their agenda. And so when you have someone that's educated and Black and outspoken and can speak intelligent, yes, you hit it on the head. It creates fear. It creates fear. And that fear comes from you're going to take something away from me, whether you're going to take my influence away from me, you're going to take my power away from me. And so I absolutely believe that it is rooted in fear. And so that's why we appreciate folks like yourself. Again, you've done very well for yourself. You and your husband, you guys have booming practices. You're already on TV. This is not, I'm going to repeat, this is not something that Dr. Heavenly Combs has to do. This is not something she has to do.
No, but it's something I've been called to do. It's something I've been called to do.
Yes.
I do not have a choice. I have the obligation to give back to my good people. My whole thing is that when you're called to do something, you do not have a choice. This. I don't know if you want to get into this, but we are.
Yes. This goes into my next question.
Our Congress is set up to be the voice of the people, meaning that when I go out to every aspect of my district, everybody's saying the same thing. They're not being heard. They don't trust their people. They don't trust the people in Congress. Heavenly, we want you because we know you're real. They know you're relatable. You'll tell the truth. You don't have to do this. You're doing it because you're called to do it. And Heavenly, we're tired. We're sick and tired of voting somebody in office that when we put them there, they ghost us. We don't see them anymore. We don't hear from them. They don't answer their phones. And our voice is not heard. The whole purpose of being a congressperson is to be the voice of the people. And what that means is the people put you in office. So you are a servant of the people. I think people in Congress forget that. They get out there and they forget the people. And what you have to do is come back. Come do town halls, do roundtable discussions to determine what the issues are with the people in your district. Don't say it for them because they're very smart. They understand what the issues are. They want to be heard and they want to be listened to, not just heard, but listened to, and take that information, take that knowledge, be very creative, and take it back to Washington and make a change. And that's what I plan to do. I've already been doing it. I've had roundtable discussions on healthcare with a group of doctors and coming up with ways we can switch out Medicaid and make it better. Not only that, knowing that we have to be an ecosystem anyway for our people, right? And I'm coming up with ways where I'm opening up a dental practice right here in the community. And I know everybody has a self-interest. So if I'm able to market other dentist practices, they will come in and volunteer. Not only that, we're actually finding places with food banks. It's not, you can find areas. I'm partnering with different churches. Like I said, Marta, Gooder, a company called Gooder that actually gives food out. We need to know these things. And that's what a congressman is supposed to do. That's what somebody in office that serves their people. And we have to give the power back to the people. Jay Carter.
Absolutely. Which leads me to your first personal question. Would you say you just emphasized that it's a calling, right? That you're
Absolutely.
in a new phase in your life where you're being called to do this. How were you originally called to go into medicine, to go into dentistry? How do you relate the two in terms of when you started your journey? How did you hear the call to go into your first profession?
Listen, ever since I was 4 years old, I knew I was going to be a doctor because my mother instilled it in her. That's speaking things over your children. I knew I was smart because my mama said I was smart. So that from the time I was 4 years old, I was bred to be a doctor. As I got older, because initially my major was pre-med. It was pre-med going into medicine. As I got older, I figured that I was very good at arts. I was very good at science as well. And when I saw dentistry and the way I could help people look better and I could set my own hours because I wanted to be a wife and a mother. So yes, I was called in that way, but I was called to have balance so I could be a wife and a mother. Now my children are grown. Now I'm semi-retired, and now my son is in dental school ready to take over my practice. And now I've been called into Congress to help people and serve the underserved. And I'm right here in a community that needs help. Yes, we have a lot of affluent people here, but we have a lot of people that are poor that do not have access to computers, so they can't even get on the Georgia Pathway system to sign up for the Medicaid. A lot of people don't even know the information that every 6 months you have to re-register for Medicaid. It's a lot of information that's just not getting out. And my job would be to inform my district on what's going on, ask them what the needs they have, and take that voice back to Washington to make a change. A lot of people ask me, Heavenly, are you qualified? Absolutely. I am actually uniquely qualified, something different than a lot of people in Congress do not have. I actually have run several multi-million-dollar practices. I actually understand payroll. I've actually created jobs right here in the community. In fact, I've created jobs pretty much in every county in the community with Heavenly Dental Associates. I am now practicing in Smiles by Dr. Heavenly because I'm semi-retired, but I understand money. I understand business, and I understand how this country needs help. I'm a person that understands it from both sides of the coin. Again, I'll tell you, I grew up on free lunch. My dad was a veteran. He actually died of Agent Orange, and he was actually in the Vietnam War when I was born. So I understand the struggle of veterans. I understand the struggle of people that are older, that want the respect and dignity that they worked hard all their dang lives, and they not getting the respect because they're cutting their benefits, meaning that most people survive on $1,300 to $1,700 a month. So when you raise their light bill, when you raise their insurances, and not just their insurances, they have to pay a copay, they have to pay for their drugs. There's not enough money, and they have to determine whether they're going to eat, pay their rent, or if they're going to survive any ailment they may have by purchasing their drugs. So the world is not fair, and they need someone with a voice, with a reach, with the resources to speak up for people. And that's who I am, Dr. Heavenly Combs, and I'm running for Congress District 13 in hopes that we can create programs. We will create programs because I'm doing roundtable discussions already. I'm working with doctors, I'm working with realtors to find out how to get homeowner loans, which is the number one way to create wealth. I'm working with the SBA, people that do SBA loans, so we can actually figure out how we can get the money. As Black women, we get the least amount of assistance with the SBA, but we're still leading in entrepreneurship. What would happen if we got more money for small businesses? And I'd like to say small businesses are the heartbeat of any community, in a sense that with small businesses, they create jobs, so they don't need to go through red tape. They need taxes, tax advantages, and tax credits to hire people in the community. And once a community is thriving, then your health care is better, crime is down, everybody's healthy, everybody's happy. It's one step at a time, but you need somebody in office that actually cares, that's going to speak up and speak out for the people. And I'm that person, and I humbly ask everybody for my vote, for their vote.
Well, you answered my next question.
I'm gonna answer
You're
all of
on
them,
a
baby,
roll.
because your question's long as hell,
My
and I'm
next,
trying
yeah,
to get
my
to the
next,
point.
yeah, my next question was, what transferable skill set you felt like you already had as an
Absolutely.
entrepreneur,
Absolutely.
as a dentist,
I think that people don't realize that when you're
that
in
you can
Congress, they
transfer
give you
those
a
skills?
I don't think people realize that when you're in Congress, they give you a sea of lawyers. They already have attorneys there, legislation. It's not going to help me to be a lawyer. It's going to help me to understand business and understand people. A lot of people shun me for being on reality TV. However, reality TV has prepared me for a time such as this. I've actually spoken to people because of my celebrity status. I get to speak to more people, and I'm actually talking directly to them as patients, right? And I'm able to use that status to understand what's going on with the community and actually speak up and speak out for the people. So yes, I can transfer my skills, my skill set in all the ways of things I've already been doing, reaching out and helping with the community, but to educate them on homeowner loan. A lot of people don't know what's out there. They don't know that there's down payment assistance, and they're being told AI and other things that don't buy a house anymore. Go ahead and rent, do that. No, the number one way to create wealth again is home ownership. The number one way to build a community is through small businesses, giving them tax credits so they can create jobs. Jobs was pump the blood in a community, and I know creating a business because I've done it multiple times successfully.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What maybe not what was it a person or a situation that presented itself to you for you to say, okay, I actually think I'm going to run? Because, from a small child, like you said, your first part of your life, it's all about medicine, being an entrepreneur. So for you to do this pivot, what opportunity or what person, what was presented to you for you to say, okay, I think I'm actually going to do this?
I think that we talk about this heavily on Married to Medicine. I don't know what they're going to show or what they're not going to show. I honestly never thought about running. I had no aspiration. And that's one good thing why you should have somebody that doesn't have aspiration. A lot of people are doing this for self-interest. My son was arrested not too long before well, actually he was arrested a long time ago. I found out about it not too long before we started filming. And he was arrested at gunpoint. And I'm gonna
Mm,
say the police officers did the right thing. He had a situation, uh, but he came home. And I know and I've learned that one of the leading reasons for our young black men to be unalived is police violence. So I was like, what can we do to make a change? What can we do to help young men? Because I think it's an epidemic. I think it's a real problem in my community and others where black men don't get a fair chance. And I don't know if you know, black men have a lot of them don't have the motivation that they've given up. And we need to actually focus on the black man. It's a
mm,
reason they're not voting. They have given up on the judicial system. They don't get a fair trial when it comes to the access to fair treatment with their children. They don't get
mm,
fair treatment with SBA loans. They don't get the loans to do businesses to feed their families or take care of their
mm,
children
mm,
anymore. And black men are frustrated. We need to talk regularly to the black man to motivate him and give him the respect that they deserve and they need. And those are the reasons I'm running, because I understand what's going on in the world. But my son was arrested as a black man, and he's an educated black man. Black
mhm,
men have
mhm.
given up on a lot of different things, and they come up with different issues because they're not respected in the community the way that they should be.
Amazing. We know that your platform emphasizes healthcare access, education reform, small business support, um, and that you are running up against, I believe, an incumbent. What
Yes.
separates you from your incumbent, and why should they select you versus your incumbent?
That's an easy question, Jay Carter. Very, very easy. The first
Okay.
reason is we haven't seen our incumbent in years. When the big, beautiful
Mhm,
bill passed, he said nothing. He gave no information on how people were supposed to survive and transition. When 300,000 plus black women lost their job, he said nothing. There are things that are going on right in this community they haven't heard from. In fact, don't trust me. Listen to the people in the community. I've been to every corner of the community. You know what they say? He doesn't answer his phone. They haven't heard from him. That's
mm,
one of the reasons I'm like, how can all this go down? And you know all the things that are happening in government right now. And you know this is a federal seat where you can actually make a difference for your community by bringing the issues from that community back to Washington to actually make a change. And your congressman has said nothing. You haven't heard from him.
mm,
There's a lot of rumors out there what's wrong with him and what's going on. That ain't any of my concern. My focus is that the only thing I need to say is he's not here. I will be here. People, when I talked to Miss B, who is 86 years old in my community, she said, Heavenly, we need somebody we can trust. We need somebody that's going to be there. Somebody that's not going to just take this job and run and we never see him again. Dr. Heavenly, we need you. We need you because we trust you. You're real. You're relatable. You don't have a problem telling the truth when it's needed. And I do all my damn jobs well, whether it's dentistry, reality TV, or
mm,
politics. I'm going to do the hell out this job. And I'm going to show people how it should be done because it's not being done in a lot of cases well. Definitely not in District 13.
mhm. Would you would you say then the TV is actually helping your campaign? It's actually a plus
It's
versus a negative, because I noticed you say with you being on reality TV, it actually makes you relatable, and you need that as a congressional candidate.
I think that's a double-edged sword. I think that yes, I
Okay.
do get more what they call earned media. But I
Mhm.
think that I play my jobs all well. If you want some beautiful teeth, come to Smile by Dr. Heavenly. If you want great entertainment, come to Married to Medicine. Dr. Heavenly's going to give you just that. I think I played my job really, really well. And I don't know if
Mhm.
people can separate the two. But my people are smart. District 13, they're very smart people, and they can make a separation and say, hey, If Dr. Hev is a doctor and she's been so successful in that space, and then she's so successful in the reality TV space, and now she's coming to politics, she does all her jobs well and she takes them very seriously when she does them. So I think that it's a double-edged sword. I think we may have to change some people's minds, but I think people are smart. They get it. They know the separation that Dr. Heavenly, if she took on this job that's putting herself out there in front of everybody, taking this great sacrifice, if you will, and she means business and she's very serious about what she's doing. So yeah, I think that
you definitely have entertained us on Married to Medicine. I don't know if you know this, but you literally brought back the line your mama.
Yeah.
That is your comeback line.
You know, I'm old school Miami. It means nothing. I think people took it too seriously. I think people take too seriously. I call my husband daddy. I don't know why.
But I'm gonna be honest with you, it makes you so relatable. And I actually personally think that is going to be your biggest strength in your campaign. How can we grow the political electorate with more Black candidates? Because like you said, sometimes people say, well, again, well, I don't know anything about politics. I don't think anybody would run for me. If somebody was interested in running on any level in the political space, what would you say to encourage them?
I would say run. When I started my campaign, I knew nothing about running for politics. All I knew is I had a voice and I had a desire to do it. God will guide you in everything you're doing, your steps of order. I would say do it, do it, do it. I think that we need real people. We need honest people, the people that care and have empathy for the people in their community. And I think that's one of the things we're missing. I think that we need people that are going to be there. I think that we need people that are going to but wait a minute, you got to be qualified. You got to be able to speak out, speak up, and have a voice, and have the fortitude to do this job. I think that you have to be qualified in a certain sense. But if you know you're called to do something, don't let anybody tell you you're not good enough, because you are. God to give you the words. He'll give you the words anyway. You know, there are a lot of people, and I can get biblical with you. You know, I'm not, a preacher, but Moses stuttered. Moses stuttered. He wasn't ideal for any position, a speaking position, definitely. David was a runt to his family, runt for lack of a better word. He was the smallest, he was the weakest. Yes, he was called to fight Saul, and the interesting thing is God calls people from unlikely places. Nobody thought that a reality TV star that says your mama would ever run for a congressional seat. And now it's happening, and it's going to happen. And I've gotten tremendous amount of support. I want to thank everybody that's helping me. I am humbly asking people for their vote, but I'm telling them to vote May 19th. A lot of people don't even know to vote in the primaries. This election will be determined in the primaries, meaning May 2026, May 19th, 2026 will be the election where the Democratic person that represents us in November will win. This district is a Democratic district. Whoever wins the Democrat seat in May will be the person that wins in November, because it's a Democratic, guaranteed. So people need to know that they're making their choices in May, not November when everybody votes. It'll already be determined and you'll be late. My own people is you got to know to vote. A lot of people, we've doing a series where we're asking people why they don't vote. A lot of people they've given up on the system. They think it doesn't matter. They think their vote doesn't matter. And I want to tell you here today, again and again, if your vote didn't matter, they wouldn't be trying so hard to take it away from you. The Voters' Rights Act is still on the ballot. The people are gerrymandering maps to take seats. The people are actually taking things away at the polls, meaning that you can't get water. They got in certain areas you're waiting a longer time than other areas. If your vote didn't count, they wouldn't be doing all this. But y'all got to pay up and pay attention to what's going on. Right now, they got a vote going on for your commissioners. They determine your light bill, your gas bill, and they're creeping those fees up. These are the things people complain about. But when it's time to vote, they don't vote. If you don't vote, you shouldn't say anything. You shouldn't complain about what's going on. Because if you're talking about the government shutdown, and we are part of the 92%, I'm assuming. But if you didn't vote, you can't complain that you didn't get your wick, because that's exactly who the hell you put in office. Somebody that was going to take away. And a lot of people voted. And I want you to know, and I'm going to say this over and over again today, most of the people that are affected by food stamps, most of the people that are affected by WIC and Medicaid are Republican. They voted against their own interest to put that man in office, and now you're reaping the benefits. And I think that you should think twice. You know what? Think 3 times before you cast your vote, because you're voting
And
against your
you
own
don't, and I know you
interest.
said that, and I know you said that May obviously determines. So if you're listening and you're in her district and you want to vote, the time frame you're looking at May, because you want to make sure she is the Democratic candidate that is selected that's going into the race in November. But what I think is important that what you just said is that a lot of times people they just don't have the information. Yes, the majority of people that are on SNAP and EBT and WIC and stuff, they're in rural America. They're white Americans that claim Republican, but this is also why you don't necessarily even have to vote based on party. You should really be voting based on the person. There are plenty of Republicans that
Absolutely.
voted for Barack Obama. There are plenty of Republicans that voted for Joe Biden. So I think it also comes down to the person. So I think that's important. Last question before we get to our Black Excellence Moment of the Week. I know the upcoming season of Married to Medicine is coming up. Will we see more about your campaign on the show? And is there anything else you would like to tell us about for people to support?
No, I'm very happy that Bravo was supportive of me running and allowed me to do what I'm doing, and they worked it out. And I'm excited about this new season. And I'm hoping you guys enjoy it. I hope you really enjoy it. I actually am more vulnerable this year than I ever have been, because um, I have reasons for doing everything I'm doing. I'm not giving away the show, but y'all know about my son.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things you don't know that will be revealed in the show. Make sure y'all watch the show, but understand that reality TV is entertainment. It is entertainment, and we do have to have the drama to keep you tuned in.
Mm-hmm.
I think
And
the
what is
question
the
you might
date? Do
want to
we have
ask
the
me,
date? What was the date
November
of
30th.
30th?
Sunday,
Okay.
November 30th is the
Okay.
premiere date for Married to
Okay.
Medicine. It comes on Sunday nights, Bravo TV, Peacock at 9 p.m. Usually after the Atlanta Housewives, but I don't know who's leading us in right now. Probably the Housewives or Housewives of
Mm-hmm.
Potomac, whatever's coming on at 8. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. 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 And there is, as you know, there's so much negativity in the world. There's so much going on in the world. We always try to end our episodes with Black Excellence Moment of the Week. We spoke briefly about Representative Jasmine Crockett, and something you said a few moments ago about gerrymandering and how they're literally trying to get her out of her seat by changing the lines and changing where people can vote. I think, which is really unfortunate. And so there are talks that she's actually thinking about running for Senate. And so she is our Black Excellence Moment of the Week. We've had her on the podcast before. Whatever Representative Jasmine Clark, wherever she's going to run, I think people will support her. And we just want to give her a shout out for everything she's done. I briefly ran into Dr. Kimes at the CDC Jasmine Crockett panel that she had, where one of her co-stars, Dr. Contessa, was actually on the panel, and Dr. Kimes actually spoke in the audience at the event. And so I think what's important is we are all in this together. So whether it's Dr. Kimes running for Georgia Congress, or Jasmine Crockett going from Congress to Senate, we have to support the people that want to make a change. But to your point, Dr. Kimes, the people that are truly being called to do this, we have to support the people that are being called, not just doing this for clout or just adding it to their resume. And so we here at the Black Lawyers Podcast support your campaign. We're gonna officially endorse you. We're gonna send you a letter. We're gonna officially, Black Lawyers
Thank you. I
Podcast is
appreciate that. That means the
officially
world to me.
endorsing Dr. Heavenly Kimes. We'll make sure that that's on social media for people to see. We'll make sure in this episode we have links where people can go online to see your campaign. We know you're Heavenly Kimes for Dr. Heavenly for Instagram. What is your congressional handle? for people to
Absolutely.
know
I'd
about
like
your
to speak
campaign?
on, what you're saying about Jasmine Crockett. I think that everything happens and I think our steps are ordered. I think that God has not left us and he's not forsaken us. And when one door closes, another one opens and a greater door. And I think that Jasmine Crockett is
Mm,
meant for the Senate. Y'all know it's true. They closed that door, so she has to walk through the Senate. And I will
mm.
support her 1000% in her Senate run. And she's going to run for the Senate. And I do everything in my power to make sure she sits there because we need leaders in Congress. I actually briefly spoke to her. I don't know, you say in the CBC. We got to meet her. She actually was so wonderful. I knew we were in the same spaces, but I had never physically met her. A lot of people don't realize she did film on Married to Medicine. They didn't show it. I don't know what happened with the, whatever, but she filmed on Married to Medicine, and we've been in the same spaces, but it made me feel so good, the warm welcome that she gave me. She said, "Is that Dr. Heavenly?" And I was just in awe. And I want to say to you
Uh-huh.
that she goes everywhere. She does everything, and she could have chose a different path. She's a very bright attorney. These jobs don't pay as well as you could get paid in a different situation. So she's putting a lot on the line. And I want to tell people that. But I will say again and again, God has not forsaken us. He's given us motivation. He's given us hope. And when one door closes, another one opens. And I think another door has opened for Jasmine Crockett. And I also want to say, I think the
Absolutely.
question you're asking me is how can you help my campaign? Now, my campaign
Mhm.
is actually grassroots, right? We actually have to have the people donate. I don't care if it's $5, $2. We're asking for $13 for Georgia 13, right? But not only just donations, because we
Okay.
need so much more. We need you to volunteer. We need you to pass out signs. I need you to make calls. I need you to go to my website right now, drheavenlyforgeorgia.com. But most the most serious thing we need is we need your prayer because prayer changes things. And pray for Dr. Heavenly, pray for Jasmine Crockett. People will attack her. There will be AI, there will be lies out there. They're going to come for me, sister, right? But y'all stand strong. I
Mhm.
think that 12 years of reality TV has prepared me for whatever, and I'm standing strong. I think this is a new generation for Democrats, and people are always asking for, they say the Democrats don't have a spine. That's what they're saying. They don't have a backbone, but it's a new generation where we're going to step up, stand out, and we're going to be bold and unapologetic to making things happen for our districts.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, thank you so much for joining us. I know you're booked back to back with all your speaking engagements, trying to get the word out. We will definitely make sure our official endorsement is posted
Thank
for
you so
you.
much.
And we will make sure it is linked so people know how to volunteer and donate because we need both. We need volunteers and donations. And like I said, we just look forward to your race moving forward in 2026 and people getting
Thank you.
out to the polls to actually vote. Until next time, everyone, this has been the Black Lawyers Podcast. You can, of course, find us on all our social media handles at the Black Lawyers Podcast and online at theblacklawyers.com.
Thank you. And I won't let you down.